Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. And we got one in. It's only 7 more to go. Looks good. Let's drill our next hole. Not that speed. Good for that. All right, well, the next thing we want to do is we want to run a perpendicular line to these lines. And so we've got and all we really need is just a little piece of material there just to butt something up into so that it squares up. Okay. And I think we can do it just fine with that little piece there. And I think we're sitting right on the line, but I'm going to get in close and have a look and make sure. All right, we drilled our center hole right there. We're going to drill that hole, then we'll come back here and drill a hole and then make a slot going backwards and forwards so we can adjust this. I mean, not a huge adjustment, but enough to give us what we want. So our size is, okay, 1032, and we want to get some thread measurements and a drill size. All right, get to 9, drop that in there. We're going to drill it. All righty. And I think what we're going to do is go ahead and take this off, or better yet, let's drill the back hole. Come a little closer. Somewhere right in there. Oops. That looks pretty centered. Okay, now we take this off, and we'll just take this over to the drill press and drill them out to the oversize. But for now, we're going to run our tap in. Okay, so we're tapping out this hole, which is good. We were using another tap, but God, it was just dull as hell, and it just wouldn't go through there. And it is stainless, so that's some tough ass stuff. All right, good. We got it. You didn't get much view of that last part, but hey, whatever. All right, so we've got our hole, and this is the one we're going to slot a little bit. But first, I want to drill it out and get that get the size right. And we're just going to kind of come in and grab that hole. That's good enough right there. Perfect. Now come back with a bit or a mill bit. Now we're very close to perpendicular to those lines, but we want to be able to have a little bit of adjustment. So we're just going to go maybe 20 thousandths on each side of that hole. That should do the trick. Okay, come down, drop into the hole, lock it, make sure we're all the way through to the bottom, and come back and forth a little bit. Okay, maybe just a little bit more on this end. There we go. And that should give us what we want. Yeah, just a little bit of movement. That looks a little better. Yeah, let me clean out these holes. Well, and what the hell? We're here. We're all set up and ready to go. All we needed to do was put another bit in, and let's skim off that surface there and make sure it's nice and square. So, crank it up. And And that's good for that. Yeah, got ourselves a nice square edge. No variation. All right, we got our 2 screws. I'm thinking we're gonna need a washer or 2. Let me go over and get a washer real quick, like. And we should take off all right, well, acetone is the number here, even though I hate using this stuff. Cleans it right up. Now we get our little piece of and it goes this way, and we've got little burrs right on each one of these, so hang on, we got to get those off. Put our fence on. But it is going in, and tight is better than not tight, so I don't mind. Okay, that's pretty snug. We're going to bring this down. It's actually nice and tight. And we'll loosen that up. Now we've got ourselves a little bit of rocking motion. We'll pull this off. And we need a square, a good one. Here's a pretty good big one. We'll drop that in up against there. And we're just a smidge off. I think that might actually do it. That's about as square as you can get. Okay. Now, a couple of things we have to do before we are complete, and one of them is these springs have to be able to go all the way down, and they're hitting this plate back here. So we're going to have to take this off. Well, I'm wondering, we might be able to do it right in place and not have to take it apart. But it's just as easy to take it apart. So what we're going to do is go ahead and mark it. I'm going to bring you over so you can see what I'm doing. So the spring drops down and hits. So, and this of course needs to go that way, but there's plenty of room with that, just not with the spring. So what we want to do, I think I can just come in and make a half circle of a mark here on both sides. And I believe there will be enough room for the spring. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. So we want to, let's just take this off. We're going to cut that these two radiuses, and I believe we are going to be pretty well set here. once we do that. Okay, well, one thing I had to consider fairly early on, that this thing is going to be fairly weighty by the time I get done with it, and how am I going to move it from one place to another? So I think the best way is to put a little eyelet in here that I can take out when I do the ram, but then put back in, and hopefully we'll have enough room to do that. So what we want to do is take the measurement of the width, and I think it's 3/4. So it's 750, yep, 3/4. So half of 3/4 is 375. Let's see how that's going to lay out beautifully. And then we want half of the width. And our width is 12 inches. So we're going to go to 6. And there is 6 right there. Yeah, okay, just a little bit further over, in between those two. All right, bring our pointer over. Looks like it's right on the money. Go ahead and get that in the center. Find zeros. Do a center drill. Okay. Looks good. And let's go with a little bit bigger drill to get our depth. Just some random size, who cares? And I think what I want to do is relieve that a little bit, so that if the pressure of the press starts to crush this down, it's not going to affect the threads. Maybe just come in with a drill bit and just take it down about 1/8. Okay. A little further. That's good. Okay, so a lot of metal is going to have to crush down before this thing gets affected. Put our eye bolt in place. Take the label off. I hate these labels. All right, we're going to have to fiddle with it for a bit. Be right back. All right, well, this one last thing, and I think we're ready to test this baby out. let's, yeah, I think we better go slower than that. That's better. Okay, and to make everything a little more solid, we'll just slide this down to meet the bit rather than take the bit over to it. Okay. Once again, down low. And that is that for that. Go and clean up those edges. Okay, let's reassemble this, and I believe we will have a completed press. And that is that for that. Let's drop the springs in place. Let's drop our ram in place. Our retainer clips, ouch. And I think we have ourselves a press brake. And let's take it over to the punch press and give it a try out. All right, so let's lift it up. My crane is, the base of my crane is here, so this is going to have to move over a bit as it comes up, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. This could be a problem though. Let's see. There we go. All right. There we go. All right, here comes the test. And basically what we're going to do is we have to bend these tabs up and make it look good. So yeah, that wants to bend up that way. And we're going to make sure that, yep, that's the right way. So now we bring this in and line it up, well, line it up with our little marker, or our little fence. We have a few other bends to make. Let's turn this thing off. We have a few other bends to make, and we'll come back in a minute and then make those. All right, well, so far we've got pretty much what we want. This one's the only one that's just a little bit wide, but not much. All right, well, we did it, and it came out pretty good, and it's cutting, or it's bending at a fairly accurate angle. I'm very pleased. One thing I did not realize is that if you push from the center and you put something over on this side, that the whole thing just kind of cocks and it doesn't do its job. So this fence is not going to work. But I just got another piece of metal and put it up against here and brought the fence in closer, and it seems to work just fine. So I've got this one, and I had another one here a few minutes ago. I don't know what I did with it, but a little bit narrower one. Oh, here we go. And a bit narrower one, and probably even narrower for a wider piece of material. So that's got, we've got a hell of a good bender now. Of course, it does have its limitations, but hey, whatever. All right. So this makes me happy. I worked about 3 days on it, and you know, it came out pretty good. Okay, well, we got one last thing to do, and you know, what am I going to do with this thing? I can't pick it up. I can only haul it on the crane, and which is fine, but where's it going to land when I'm not using it? So I've thought and thought, and I came up with an idea, and we're going to just go right up to the side of the press and build a kind of a table for the press for this thing to sit on. So, and I think just 2 legs would be fine, as, you know, something just kind of hang on to it. So we're going to cut some legs and see what we can do. Okay, well, as you may have already guessed, if you've watched a number of my videos, whenever I work in metal that I'm not working for a customer, I try to use rusty metal as much as possible because I love this stuff. It shows a personality to me. You know, hey, everybody's got their own choice, but that's kind of what I want. But I need to round off these edges first. I'll be back. All right, let's give it another try here. Crank up my little 1925 arc welder. Level it out. Looks good. All right, ready? Okay, that's one weld, and we're just going to come inside here and do the second one. I think that's going to hold. Probably you could drive a tank up on that. Somewhere in that general area. Too high. Maybe we can just tap it there. That looks level. Now we want to get level this way. Looking good. finish to a great little project. I really enjoyed doing this, and I'm enjoying getting an accurate bin, which I haven't had for, you know, my, who knows, 30, 40 years, 50 years, okay, 60 years. Anyhow, it's been good. I had fun. I hope you had fun. Stick with me. We have a good time here. We're building all kinds of weird ass stuff. This is Nick Collier. Check it out.